Eduardo, it's very nice to meet you here in person at KPMG's Latin American Tax Conference here in Mexico City. I was listening outside just now, and there's a lot of discussion about the increased inbound investment into Mexico, particularly in the industrial space. And I know that's a place that you do a lot of work. Tell me, what is it that you do?
Thank you very much for the invitation with me. Basically help companies and with the fund to understand what are the best alternatives to structure an industrial operation in Mexico. There is a particular tax model here in Mexico that is called maquiladora, Mexican maquiladora tax model. It used to have many benefits in the past. It has been losing benefits since 2014. So many companies right away decided to invest in Mexico through a maquila type of structure. So basically, what I have been doing in the past years is to putting on the table different structures, alternatives to operate, basically present them what are the legal implications from the tax, transfer pricing, and customs perspectives. In addition to that, I help them model profit and loss statements so they could take an informed decision about their investment. And this is beforehand, before the investment is done in Mexico. And I think from my side as a business advisor, I put value on the table because otherwise the companies could be right away deciding on a particular model that is not as beneficial as it used to be. That is the focus what I've been doing in a couple years, and together with my colleagues from customs, tax, and myself, transfer pricing.
Well, that's really interesting because I do think about some of my clients and they have historically used maquiladoras. But it sounds like in some cases when you do the modeling, that's not the best decision. Why might that be?
Yeah, there are particular variables in the calculations for operating as a maquiladoras. Those variables have been changing since 2014. We had a major tax reform here in Mexico. Before that year, the maquiladoras have a statutory tax rate of 17.5%. So it was a no-brainer to operate outside within the maquiladora. So after 2014, the Mexican income tax law was reformed, and then the statutory tax rate for maquilas changed to 30%. So it basically loses the main benefit. So from that day, I identified a opportunity to bring value to the client. So that is what basically driven all this tax analysis. After that reform, it is advisable to understand what are the options in addition to maquila.
Well, that's really interesting. So I can imagine this applies not only to new investment, but also existing investment maybe.
Yes, you're correct. Even if a company is already structured as a maquiladora, it is possible to opt out of that particular tax regime, and in most of the cases it's beneficial, and it is not disruptive of the current operation. So that is something that from my perspective is important for the clients to understand, at least to have a blueprint of what are the options or alternatives.
Makes total sense. And so, Eduardo, when you're talking to clients then, what is like the biggest recommendation you end up giving people?
Yes, before you make the decision on a particular model, and the company should evaluate or prepare a preliminary analysis to understand what are the alternatives and what would be the financial and tax impacts of each alternative. And instead of going right away to the old maquila bottom move. I don't have nothing like that against maquila, but that is something that I just want.
Yeah, but it's a very good recommendation, right? Before you just jump in to what you've heard everyone else doing, take a step back and make sure that is actually the best thing for you as a business.
Yeah, the companies have scarce resources, so
Yeah.
they must invest in things that will generate value to both stock and stockholders, stakeholders.
Yes.
It is better to give a more precise use of this money.
Makes total sense. Well, Eduardo, just given what I've heard today in particular about all the increased investment into Mexico, I can imagine you're going to be very popular here at the conference. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me today.
Thank you very much, Scott. Talk to you soon.